It actually was one of the first times in my life where I felt as though I was completely useless. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. I am your host, Darren Perkins, and today we got a returning guest, none other than Teneasha Perkins. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. How about
Good,
yourself?
good. Um, had to get you back. We had an amazing conversation the first time. Um, Actually, it was our very first episode. So, um, how was your week?
Eventful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's go into what she means by that. This past, I would say, week and a half, I was out with COVID, so it did present some changes and challenges. It actually was one of the first times in my life where I felt as though I was completely useless. Wasn't able to be around my family. Obviously, couldn't go to work. Um, it even bled over into the podcast itself because I actually launched all my batched episodes, so I had to, get start recording. I couldn't record while I was sick because obviously I was sick. Um, but could you talk about from your side of things, like how was that experience of dealing with somebody that's so close to you, basically being sick with COVID?
I think the biggest hurdle was just the distance that we had to keep, in order to keep us healthy, and just not being around you as much as I'm used to. In addition to, having to take on the load and responsibilities that generally would be shared between the both of us. Just kind of solely taking it on myself for a few days.
Did you ever blame me for catching COVID? It's okay. This is a safe space.
I wouldn't necessarily say I blamed you,
Uh-huh.
but I know, when we tried to sit there and figure out like when did this happen or where did you pick the COVID up, and we deduced it, and you know, by the process of elimination came to the conclusion that it came from the gym.
Right.
So just my way of thinking is that okay, well, once we do get through this and you get back healthy and you test negative, don't be so quick to run back to the gym because COVID is in the gym. That's just my logic and thinking behind it. It just makes me more leery now if you going to the gym. Although I know you love going to the gym, and because you love the workout and that's just a part of your routine. But now it has me more skeptical about you going to the gym because it's risky, and it's you being out of the household and around other groups of people that who knows what they have going on in their household or what they have going on with them health wise because someone bought it there, so and then it ended up coming to our house. But thankfully it didn't go further than you getting sick. No one else in the household got sick.
Right. And that is a big struggle because, like you said, I love going to the gym. Like that's one of my safe spaces, and it will be. Um, it's something that we definitely have to talk about and agree on. Because we just went through it and we don't want to go through it again. Um, so that's going to be a interesting conversation for the next few weeks. Obviously, I was trying to go back this morning.
Yes, you were.
so, it's going to be an ongoing thing between us, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. We'll figure everything else out. But just to get off, that was on my chest, so I really wanted to talk about COVID first. With it being, it seems like everybody that we know either know somebody that contracted COVID or contracted COVID themselves over the break, and um, it, it is alarming, especially with the I guess the CDC guidelines being kind of gray. and allowing people to go back to work without even necessarily knowing that they're negative is a huge concern as well.
Right.
So that's just the world that we're in right now, where COVID is just it's real, and it's something that we have to deal with on a daily basis for however long. Hopefully, we can laugh about this, in the near future. But right now, it's no laughing matter, because even though I wasn't necessarily hospitalized, it could have been, a case where our daughter could have gotten it, you could have gotten it, my mom. So I am thankful that it stopped with me in our household, and we were able to um, contain it and isolate. And now I'm feeling better. I still got a annoying cough, but other than that, I'm good to go, and we're able to film this podcast. Um, but to get off COVID, I hate to start it off with that gloomy subject, but I mean it's the reality of where we are, so I had to touch on it. Um, this is the first episode of 2022.
All right.
So with that, everybody, new goals, new me. Could you kind of speak to the importance of goal setting for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think goal setting is extremely important because you have to map out a plan on how you're going to get to where you want to be and how you're going to achieve it. So by listing out those goals and not just listing them out, but then coming up with the steps it's going to take for you to make those goals attainable, then that is what will get you to your next levels in life, and that will get you to achieving those goals.
Is there anything that you feel as though didn't get accomplished in 2021 that's going to be on the forefront?
Yes, in 2021, I did not design a wedding. So I would like to design a wedding. So I'm looking forward to that in 2022.
Okay. And then along with that, are there any major goals that
And
you?
also in 2021, I'm sure your viewers probably aren't aware of this, but in addition to being a and interior designer, I also have a real estate license. So in 2022, I am activating that real estate license and selling my first home in 2022.
Okay.
Planning that.
Okay. So, with those two major ones, was it anything else? Was it anything new that you wanted to take down this
Definitely would like to travel out
year? Okay. Okay. So we got our passport. So
of the country. Right.
right now it's just about booking it and
Right. But I also want to make sure that, you know, I feel safe in doing so. And that I'm going to be able to enjoy myself and really let my hair down.
right.
Right. So, like, I would prefer for the numbers to come down more.
So it's kind of out of our hands in that regard. So maybe it will have to be somewhere closer, but still technically.
Yeah, but I think from it hitting close to home now, it, I loosened up a little bit, as far as like my COVID protocol, and I feel like now that's just about to make me tighten the reins even more.
Yeah.
Now with you catching COVID, just like seeing like, okay, it's not going anywhere. It's still out there. So we have to limit, like our social engagements, because you just never know what other people have going on in their households. Although we may just mainly go to work back home, you go to the gym or whatnot.
Right.
You just never know what other people have going on in their household and what their social actions are like. And I just don't want to take that risk with my
family. Yeah. And it's just to touch on COVID again. Having it, and well, I had it, and just going through the process of being sick, and I can closely relate it to the just having the flu. That's what it felt like for me. I do realize that it could be a lot more detrimental to people with underlying health conditions. Of course, I don't want to catch it again, but it's I don't want it to hinder me from living.
Right.
that's one of the big reasons why I do want to get back in the gym, because that's something I enjoyed, and being out of the gym for 2 weeks, I already know it's going to be somewhat difficult. It's almost like starting over again, but not really because it's only 2 weeks. But 2 weeks can be strenuous if you are trying to start back. But I am excited to see where my fitness is. Did it go? Did it regress a little bit, or was it 2 weeks that I needed off? We won't know until I get back in there. But that's all we're going. We're not talking about COVID anymore. We just had to touch on those two subjects. So we talked about goal setting, but one of the big topics that I have for you today, or I guess it's a more of a question, which I got from an Instagram post. Shout out to my brother Gerard. He brought this up in the Instagram post, tagged me in it, and it brought a real interesting conversation. He asked, "Is it possible to stay consistent with anything without being committed to?" What are your thoughts on that?
No, commitment brings about consistency. When you're committed to something that you want to do, you're going to be consistent with it. Sort of like you with your podcast, because you're committed to Too Stubborn to Fail. You've consistently been putting out content and being consistent with putting out posts and reaching out to aspiring entrepreneurs, and getting their journey started. So I think commitment brings about a consistency when you're committed to what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because, like you said, if I wasn't committed to the podcast, I wouldn't have consistently dropped 9 episodes. This being episode 10, so for that means that for the past 10 weeks, I've consistently put out one episode a week, and I plan to continue that because I'm committed to it. So I agree with you on that 100%. That it I don't necessarily believe that you can be consistent without being committed to the cause. But people may disagree, and if you do, go ahead and drop your comments. Let us know what you think. You may not feel that way. We welcome all comments. But just to keep the ball rolling a little bit, I mentioned that we had you on the very first episode. From your eyes, what do you see? What growth have you seen in the show from episode 1 to now, which episode 2?
I've seen growth in your level of comfort. You're a whole lot more comfortable behind the camera now than you were initially. I know filming that first episode, there were a few challenges.
It was rough. It was rough. Let's not sugarcoat it.
Filming that first episode, it was a few challenges behind the scene, that took place. And, of course, me looking at it, and I'm just looking back at myself and I'm like, oh, I don't even sound like myself. Or I should have said this, I should have said that. Like, I don't sound articulate at all. And, I know, they say you are your worst critic. Well, I know I'm definitely my worst critic. I feel like I could have done a way better interview. I was hangry when we filmed. So, it was a lot going on that day. But I can say that I have seen growth with your comfort level. I've noticed, like, with your set, with you having the Too Stubborn to Fail backdrop with your interviewees. I think that was a great touch. And it seems like, the more you do it, you're getting more and more interviewees who have been in entrepreneurship for a while. And everyone that you have interviewed have had some great gems to drop.
That's true.
I've gotten a lot of great information from each of your guests. So you have a good good quality in your.
And shout out to everybody, including yourself. You're right. I feel as though all of my guests have done an amazing job so far, and they are helping build the brand because I can't do what I do without interesting guests. have something to talk about. So I am appreciative of you and all my other guests that have come on, and everybody that's going to come on in the near future. Because we're growing this thing, and people are reaching out to me every day. So I'm excited to, now that I'm COVID free, I can begin to, that process of booking and filming. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm really feeling though, like you said, I'm getting more comfortable behind the camera. I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much as I am. It's helping me come out of my shell. I was very reserved, but the more that I'm behind the camera, the more I see what I look like when I'm editing the videos. I'm just getting more comfortable with it. That's the main thing. And like I said, I'm just having a great time with it. I'm learning a lot of stuff from my guests, which is kind of a hidden advantage of doing it. Is I get to get firsthand knowledge and free game, if you will. So who wouldn't like that? Initially, the only reason I ever started the podcast was to push myself, because that was an area that I felt like public speaking, communication was an area that I was very weak in. So what better way to push the envelope and grow than to start a podcast? Right now, we are blessed. We hit 100 subscribers, y'all. How about, let's just give it up for that? 100 subscribers. Thank all of y'all for the the comments, the shares, the likes. You're very appreciated. This is only the beginning. I know you've all seen growth between episode 1 to 10, and just feel free to leave a comment about that as well. All feedback is appreciated. But shout out to y'all for helping me hit 100, because it's just the beginning. I think when I launched the first episode, I probably had like 18 subscribers. So from 18 to I think we're at like 112 or something like that. So that's a big accomplishment for me. I know it's just going to continue to grow, but it'll only happen with my consistency and your support. So thank you for that. I know I want to talk a little bit about the future plans of the podcast. I know we discussed having you as a co-host, and I think that role suits you if you would like to do it. This is the kind of do, every once in a while, or we may get to the point where you are interviewing along with me, the guest. But what are your thoughts on that? Would that be something that you'd be comfortable with? Or?
Well, my main question would be, how much is that?
We can discuss the particulars of the particulars later.
No, but seriously, yeah, that's something I definitely would enjoy co-hosting.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it here. I got it on tape, so hey, I got the agreements on
but
tape.
I still want to know how much that
pay. Yeah, but like I said, just to recap on some of the episodes as a whole, I've had a lot of great conversations, having fun. A few of the people, most of the people that I interviewed, if not everybody, I already was familiar with somewhat. Whether I went to school with them, grew up with them, married to them, just having that familiarity with my guests definitely helped with the process as well. And obviously, in the future, every guest is not going to be somebody I necessarily know. Right. I have reached out to some people that I just admire, and I want to have a good conversation with them. So, thank y'all for allowing me to get comfortable behind the camera, so I can go and talk to somebody that I never knew before, and have a great conversation. But before we get out of here, I always like to have a too stubborn to fail moment. And I'm gonna take this one. Being too stubborn, my too stubborn to fail moment actually was going through this COVID process, and um, knowing that through it all, when I first tested positive, it's sad to say I did think about my family, but what I thought about first was not being able to record, and because I don't want to be inconsistent, and that's why we're here today,
Right.
is so I can continue to consistently push this content, because Monday is my day.
Mm-hmm.
You can count on the episode from me every Monday until there are no more Mondays. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, to me, to me that's what Too Stubborn to Fail is all about. It's more than just entrepreneurship. It's basically going through adversity and not accepting failure.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's about that grit, having
yeah.
that perseverance in the face of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
How bad do you want it?
Right, right. And I thank you for being on the episode with me, and just being an amazing wife, and helping me get back to a place where I can record. Because without you, we probably wouldn't be here today. So I do appreciate you, and I want to, in front of everybody, just say thank you for being you. You know. Did you have any Too Stubborn to Fail moment that you wanted to talk about? Or?
Um, I haven't really had anything, you know.
It didn't have to be anything recent, but just anything that you wanted to do. But I know you did one on episode 1, which you guys need to check out, Entrepreneurship 101. But is it any other moments that you can think of that you wanted to share?
No.
No.
With my one thing I can say with my 9 to 5, I'm always too stubborn to fail, because regardless, the work is gonna get done.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel as though you really do give your job a lot. A lot. Sometimes I feel like we could come second to the job. But that's another conversation. You're absolutely right. So it's been another amazing conversation. I thank you, Teneasha, for coming through. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's something that I haven't been doing, and I'm going to make a valiant effort to let you guys know that you should like, comment, and subscribe, because if you made it this far, that means that you're interested in my content. So go ahead and hit that bell. And like I said, I will give you an episode each and every Monday until there are no more Mondays. This has been another episode of the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. I am Darren Perkins. I had Teneasha Perkins in the building, my new co-host. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. All right, we're signing out.